See what's happening right now. This is the Appalachian Weekly News on App TV.
NASA's newest rover, Perseverance, successfully lands on Mars.
The Faculty Senate voices concerns for App State parents and families amidst COVID-19.
An App State alumnus leaves the Music City to educate those on the autism spectrum about trade careers.
All of this and more on this week's edition of the Appalachian Weekly News.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on this Friday, February 26. Live from the Beasley Media Complex in Boone, this is the Appalachian Weekly News. I'm Xanayra Marin-Lopez.
And I'm Grace Smith.
An App State student recently went viral on TikTok after accusing a professor of mistreatment.
Our correspondent Anna Muckenfuss has the story.
TikTok is one of the most popular apps with more than 37 million users in the United States who share content with people around the world. Recently, a student took to the social media giant to share their own story.
All right, y'all, that's it. We're not dealing with this anymore.
In a post that has more than 1 million views, Anna James Randall, a former App State student, shared her frustrations about a professor who allegedly told her to get cancer at, quote, a more convenient time.
One was very understanding except for Dr. Eric Frauman. He was telling me that I've had a lot of health issues this semester and it was becoming inconvenient for his class and that he was not willing to work with me on due dates.
During the fall semester, Randall was diagnosed with stage 1 skin cancer and also tested positive for COVID-19. The instructor who Randall accuses of being insensitive is Eric Frauman, a professor in the Recreation Management Department. Randall says she had to get a tumor removed on the day of an important assignment, and she asked for an extension. In a response sent to Randall on December 3rd, Frauman said Randall never followed the instructions for the assignment. Quote, I had suggested you consider your health earlier in the semester and seek other options to finish my course. You chose not to, and unfortunately your overall grade may have suffered. Unquote. Megan Hayes, the director of university communications, says the school is investigating the incident. Quote, we have no indication Dr. Frauman denied Anna options to complete her work, nor any indication that he told Anna she should have gotten cancer at a more convenient time. Dr. Frauman earned his tenure by maintaining a record of excellence for his academic achievements and service, and he has a long-standing reputation of empathy and compassion for his students. Unquote. Frauman won an award for excellence in teaching in 2017 and is described by former students as genuine and someone who, quote, cares about his students' well-being. Moving forward, Randall hopes the outcome of her issues with
final paper because I had
university.
surgery to get. Like, I want these professors to know that they can't treat human beings like that, especially not human beings who are paying to be at this school to learn.
Hayes says the school applauds Randall for overcoming significant issues to graduate in December. Hayes also encourages the public to have more compassion for Randall and Frauman in light of the incident. For the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Anna Muckenfuss.
For more details on this story, visit theappalachianonline.com.
Now for an update on the COVID-19 pandemic in the High Country. As of February 26th, App State has 50 active cases, with 48 in students and 2 in faculty. There have been 1,772 tests performed on campus. 2.2% of those tests are positive. Because of this year's winter weather, App Healthcare is expecting shipment delays for 3,125 vaccines.
Quadesia Rivers has the story.
As vaccines raise local clinics, but some clinics are not as fortunate. App Healthcare has experienced a shortage in COVID-19 vaccines due to winter weather. Over 3,000 vaccines were delayed in shipment, forcing health officials to postpone appointments.
Most of those clients impacted got vaccinated this Wednesday at the Watauga Rec Center. Public Health Director Jennifer Green said a lot of customers were upset about the delay.
We know that weather caused delays across the country, and we weren't the only ones affected. Vaccines have to be managed in temperature really carefully, and so if there's any doubt in the temperature not being able to be held consistently because of a delay, perhaps in a certain, transit process, that could lead to, really a delay in getting it shipped.
Most of the clients scheduled to get vaccinated were all Watauga County school staff employees and healthcare officials. Michelle Novacek decided to volunteer that Wednesday to direct traffic.
To help with the social distancing, that's one reason why they've asked so many volunteers to coordinate, because it's, you get sort of immune to the lines on the floor, but having somebody friendly just say like, hey, you want to just back up a little bit?
COVID-19 vaccinations are split up into two different vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna. Depending on the patient's age or underlying condition, the vaccinations can range from 3 to 4 weeks.
You probably will have a sore arm for a few days after you get your vaccine. The second vaccine will depend on which vaccine you get. With Pfizer, you get your second dose about 3 weeks later, and with Moderna, you get it about 4 weeks later. After that second dose, there is some expectation that you'll have a little bit of side effects, and that's really your body's effort of demonstrating that it's fighting the virus.
If you wish to get vaccinated this spring, visit www.apphealthcare.com. For Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Cordesia Rivers.
State employees and students with children at home haven't seen much assistance during the COVID-19 pandemic. During a recent Faculty Senate meeting, the group made a report outlining ways to help. The report drew its recommendations from a parenting survey. The main concern was the need for financial support. This includes raises, tutoring assistance, reducing costs for on-campus childcare, and providing sufficient supplies needed to work from home. Implementing more COVID-19 testing, an expansion of the Child Development Center, and having on-site remote learning centers are just a few resources the Faculty Senate will provide. There were plans to expand the Child Development Center before the pandemic, and that project is continuing. With the expansion, the center will be able to serve 40 to 50 more students. It will be completed in August. The Faculty Welfare and Morale Committee is also suggesting networking events for families to offer each other resources like babysitting and tutoring. In the future, they hope to have support groups through the Faculty and Staff Counseling Center.
Although students have not spent much time in a classroom, Watauga County School staff still prioritizes their students' health. All students who are learning remotely have access to school resources, such as counselors, nurses, and social workers. Teachers have been making sure that this new system is reaching to students' needs. Garrett Price is the Director of Communications for Watauga County Schools.
Well-being is core to just their ability to receive an education and just their ability to be happy, healthy kids. So whether we have kids who are coming into our classrooms to learn or they're at home learning remotely, we want to be sure that they have access to everything that they need, whether that's a social worker or a school nurse or a school counselor. We do everything we can to facilitate that contact.
Shelley Klutz is a school nurse for the school system. She says that mental health services are more important than ever for students. In the past 2 years, Watauga County Schools have added counselors to Hardin Park and Parkway School staff. Watauga County High School has 4 full-time counselors. Klutz says that schools are testing students even if they are virtual. Through the Say Something app, students and faculty can anonymously report many different issues.
All students in the UNC system currently pay $30 as a campus security fee. Next year, the fee will double to $60 in an effort to raise police salaries and improve officer retention. A $4 portion of the fee will go directly to the UNC system office. Cost of attendance in the UNC system includes tuition plus several general fees, campus security being one of them. Students expect to pay around the same amount of money each year. Jaquez Johnson is the Association of Student Government's campus liaison at App State. He represents the university alongside student representatives from other UNC system schools. Johnson disagrees with the increase. He says that student leaders in the system feel the money should come from the General Assembly and not from students' tuition. He would rather schools receive individual guidance on their campus security rather than the additional money system-wide.
Personally, the fee increase is for campus security and campus policing. It's irresponsible use of student dollars in the midst of a pandemic. There's so many other things that, especially here at App State, that we need to be worried about.
The fee increase was approved and students can expect the change for the next academic year.
On Thursday the 18th, NASA's Perseverance rover began its descent to Mars's surface. The rover, that NASA calls Percy, landed on the Xanayra crater. Scientists hope that Percy will collect evidence of microscopic organisms in the crater that once could have contained water. After landing, Percy sent black and white images of Mars's surface back to Earth. On February 19th, NASA released the first full-color image of Mars from the rover. The camera on Percy will be used to help identify samples for the rover to collect on future missions to Mars. Before Percy can gather evidence of microorganisms, it has to go through an extensive checklist that lasts several Martian days. Days on Mars are 40 minutes longer than days on Earth. The Perseverance mission is NASA's most ambitious to date, according to workers. 2 missions are being planned over the next decade. They are collaborations between NASA and the European Space Agency.
A former Watauga High School employee pled guilty to 1 count of felony production of child pornography last Thursday. Frank Conwell was employed as the school's athletic training intern. He used Snapchat to communicate and convince minor victims that he was a female. He enticed male victims to produce and send him sexually explicit images and videos of themselves. There were 10 victims in the case. The guilty plea reflects that of 1 victim. Cromwell faces a penalty of 15 years minimum and a maximum of 30 years in prison. A sentencing date has not yet been set.
A Boone man, Joshua Clemons, was sentenced to 25 years in prison for possessing and distributing child pornography. The 40-year-old had over 700 images of acts of abuse on children. He was arrested as a result of an investigation by Boone PD, the Watauga County Sheriff's Office, and the NC Bureau of Investigations. Clemons' sentence was increased based on prior offenses. He was convicted in 1999 on indecent liberties with a minor. According to Boone PD, the victim was 12. Records also show that Clemons has been convicted of sexual assault and battery of a female in Forsyth County. This victim was also a minor. Clemons pled guilty on August 11th, 2020.
Grace, Boone's weather has been so confusing lately. I can never tell if I need to get my sunscreen or my winter coat.
Xanayra, I know exactly what you mean. Now let's tune into Shannon. Shannon, we've been seeing some sun recently, but please tell me it's not going back to rain.
No sunscreen, no winter coat, but I hope you have your rain jackets. Let's hope you like those warm and rainy days because they are here to stay. Today's high is 38 and the low is 32 degrees. There was a 100% chance of snow projected, but now you can just expect a mix of snow and rain later tonight. You have to love that Boone weather. One day it's snowing, the next it's 60 degrees outside. For Blowing Rock, Beach Mountain, and Seven Devils, the weather for this weekend will be about the same temperatures. Today, the high will be in the mid-30s, and there will be a high chance of both rain and snow. Make sure you dress in those layers this weekend because we are expecting some warmer weather during the day and cooler temperatures at night. On Saturday and Sunday, the high will be in the upper 50s, and there will be about half an inch of rain expected. There's also going to be some light winds at about 10 miles per hour. Monday and Tuesday will drop back down into the 40s, but we'll finish the week up in the lower 50s. Xanayra, Grace, looks like we'll be staying in this week.
It's the perfect time to catch up on some studying.
I'm with you, Grace. These midterms really snuck up on me. Dating during a pandemic presents a whole new set of challenges.
Our correspondent Ayanna Willoughby has the story on the ups and downs of Tinder.
So I've never had a Tinder, but I've used it for the purpose of entertainment from other people's phones. And I think some people use it to actually meet people, but other people, it's just entertaining to swipe and look at guys or girls or whoever.
Since the university has discouraged large gatherings and most classes meet online, students have been relying on their phones to try and find love.
So Tinder is a dating app. Some people use it for dating, some people use it for other things like meeting friends or just meeting other people.
Tinder is the #1 dating app in Boone.
I actually have it, so it's a really great way to find people to hang out with, definitely going to a new place.
Many want to know, how does online dating impact the sexual health of college students? The Director of Health Services, Margaret Bumgarner, says the amount of positive sexually transmitted infection tests has stayed about the same. But does Tinder actually work?
I don't know any people that actually go out with people on there.
If you're interested in online dating, Tinder is free in your phone's app store. For the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Ayanna Willoughby.
Healthcare workers in Grandfather Mountain received a video as a gift for their hard work saving lives during the COVID-19 pandemic. On National Random Acts of Kindness Day, February 17th, Avery County School Board member Ruth Ann Shirley had the idea of creating a tribute to the local health department. The community also shared its appreciation by posting photos to social media with the hashtag #MayIThankYou, also the title of the video. The video features a song also called May I Thank You, written specifically for the cause. Shirley reached out to Jesse Pope, Grandfather Mountain president and executive director, with the idea.
You know, we really wanted to show love and compassion was what was behind the making of the video. And I hope that everyone feels that. There was a lot of time and effort that went into creating it, but it really was out of love and compassion for our healthcare workers.
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
One thing that has made COVID-19 a lot easier for me is drive-through restaurants. While we're on the topic, Local Lion won 2020's Business of the Year. Josiah and Meredith Davis are the owners of Local Lion, and they are very grateful for the award. Local Lion is a drive-through coffee shop that serves a variety of items, including house-made donuts. Since opening in 2012, the coffee shop has served a vital role in the Boone community. It is now a place where busy customers can come pick up a cup of coffee on the way to work or school. Josiah Davis says, quote, "Our purpose is to serve the community and create an environment that really values our customers and supports their achievements," unquote. Many Local Lion customers like that the store is not only locally owned and operated, but also sells locally made goods like jewelry, flowers, and pastries. Dana Baxter is a senior at App. She says, quote, "The atmosphere is very cozy and the service is super quick," unquote. The Local Lion is open from 7 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Mondays through Saturdays. You'll definitely see me there, chomping into a fresh donut.
With Governor Roy Cooper's executive orders for the service industry, bars have struggled economically.
With options like curbside service and outdoor dining, our correspondent Mia Mendez looks at how some bars are staying open.
Well, it may seem peaceful now.
A sunny day in Boone brings locals and students alike to enjoy a beverage even during this crazy year.
Throughout the pandemic, restaurants have been adapting and changing to better serve customers and keep customers as safe as possible.
From to-go cocktails to virtual menus and even online ordering, places like Tap and Lily's are finding ways to stay open and stay busy. I got the chance to speak with Matt Manili, manager of the Tap Room, about how things have changed since COVID.
So we've obviously gone down 50% capacity and followed 6 feet of distance guidelines and heavily enforced masking. But beyond that, we've really turned to a table service and a service-centric bar, whereas I think before we were more so focused on, getting drinks out and not so much the experience given by the bartenders.
Tap isn't the only one keeping things curbside. I also got the chance to sit down with both of the owners of Lily's Snack Bar.
So, COVID hit while we were still in our first year of being open, which is tough for any restaurant. Yeah. We had made it our mission to serve safe food and cocktails and bring the party in a safe environment.
Having to kind of break out of that mold has forced us to be a little more creative, and that's something that we all, the partners and our staff, were all was already part of what we wanted to do anyway. So I think that's one of the major ways that we've driven business through COVID is just by being as creative as possible and doing fun stuff that nobody else around is doing.
Whether it's their signature potato wedges or one of their candy-filled drinks, Lily's is determined to keep people safe while still having a good time.
For the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Mia Mendez.
Grace, this warm weather really has me missed tailgating.
I know what you mean, Xanayra. Why don't we check in with Jayson James to see how we can support our Mountaineers this week?
Yeah, Grace, Xanayra, a lot of craziness going on here in the high country. The men's and women's basketball teams are both wrapping up their seasons here very soon. The men's team lost both matchups this past weekend against South Alabama and hit the road earlier this week to take on Georgia State. Unfortunately, the Panthers were too much to handle as the Apps suffered a devastating loss, 83-70. They now will head to Statesboro to take on Georgia Southern today at 6 in the evening and tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon. They currently sit at 12-10 overall and 6-7 in the conference. The Mountaineers will now try to sweep Georgia Southern this weekend in hopes of getting a top seed for the Sun Belt Tournament, which will take place soon. The women's basketball team split the series against South Alabama last week thanks to Pre Stanley's game-winning shot in Game 2. The Mountaineers will now host Georgia Southern this weekend in hopes of a sweep. They sit at 11-11 overall and will look to jump above the 500 mark during this series. The rivalry between Georgia Southern and App State is something that runs deep in the hearts for all of us here at App. Our correspondent Garrett Davenport sat down with some athletes to see just how much this rivalry means to them.
App State versus Georgia Southern. It's a rivalry that transcends all sports since their first meeting in 1932. The App State men's and women's basketball team played the Eagles this weekend. Welcome to Hate Week.
From the gridiron to the hardwood, the Mountaineers and the Eagles have no love lost for each other. I spoke with seniors Pre Stanley and Lainey Gosnell about their upcoming matchup. It's safe to say that this game has a lot hanging in the balance.
We're on our own journey, and it's a really big weekend for us, and these two games are like really big for us as far as like seeding. With that all being said, it's also senior night and our last home games, and so just all together, it's a really big weekend for us, and we know what all is at stake at this weekend.
I asked Pre, what was the team's mindset headed into this weekend?
These are two big games for us, especially with like seedings for conference play and stuff. So just making sure we're all on the same page with that, having the same mission and vision. I mean, we could go far just along with that. So just making sure we're all on the same page and getting done the things we need to in practice.
This rivalry is truly deeper than hate. For the Appalachian Weekly News, I'm Garrett Davenport.
State wrestling team will host the SoCon Championships this weekend. The championship will be all day and take place in the Convocation Center. The wrestling team finished out the year at 7-2 overall. They will look to secure another conference title to add to what was an excellent year for the wrestling team. The women's soccer team currently sits at 6-10-1. They hosted Davidson on Thursday and brought home the victory 1-0 thanks to an Olivia Cohen penalty kick. They now will prepare to take on Marshall on March 13th here in Boone at 3 p.m. The softball team kicked off their season last week against Charlotte and UNC Greensboro. The Lady Mountaineers lost 2 of 3 to UNC Charlotte, but won 2 of 3 against UNC Greensboro. They will now hit the road to take on UNC Wilmington this weekend in a 4-game series. They currently sit at 3-3 on the season. Xanayra, Grace, told y'all it was a crazy week of sports this week. Back to you, ladies. Let's see that high country high note.
Jayson, it's always a pleasure to hear from you and to cheer on our Mountaineers.
And now it's time for your High Country High Note. App State alumni and Grammy winner Danny Combs is changing his tune and pursuing another passion. Combs is now the CEO of TACT, a nonprofit providing trade and technical skills to young people who have autism. Teaching the autism community trades is the first and only trade program in the U.S. for individuals with autism. Combs was inspired by his son, who has autism. TACT trains people in auto mechanics, carpentry, welding, and computer science. They also hold camps and workshops for children over 5. They provide introductory instruction on trades like fiber arts, instrument building, and photography. Combs says that skilled trades work well in the autism community because people with autism tend to be detail-oriented. Combs said, quote, "Trade professionals are in high demand, earn good wages, and can be gainfully employed in a field that becomes a career," end quote. The program currently exists in Denver, Colorado, but TACT has been gaining nationwide attention. Combs is exploring franchising opportunities to expand the program in other cities. TACT has trained more than 500 people to date and helped them find work.
That's our report for this week. I'm Grace Smith.
And I'm Xanayra Marin-Lopez. From all of us at the Appalachian Weekly News, thank you for watching.
We'll see you next time.